Hello, everybody. I'm Ken Tucker with Changescape Web. Today, I am joined by Amber, Brady, and Misty Culp of Athletico Physical Therapy. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm excited to talk to you guys. Now, you guys have two different locations in the St. Charles County area, right? I mean, you have multiple locations across the area, but two in St. Charles.
Yeah, Ken, we've got 7 locations in the St. Charles County.
Oh, really?
We just are at 2 of these. I'm at the St. Peter's location, and Amber's at the St. Charles location.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Nice. So tell me a little bit about Athletico Physical Therapy and how did you guys decide to join and what do you guys really help your patients out with?
Athletico is a physical therapy company, and one of the things we do best here at Athletico is really try to treat the patient specifically for the deficits that they have to obtain the goals that they want, return to the activities that they want to do. It's not a cookie cutter approach. We do what works for the patient and what really gets them back to functioning the way that they want. The reason we joined the chamber, Misty and I joined the chamber, we talk a lot about wanting to be able to give back to our community and to find different ways to do that. And we found that Athletico gives us the opportunity to be a little bit more free with the things that we want to do in our own specific communities. And we found that this was the best way to get plugged in to the St. Charles area, to be able to communicate with different businesses and to provide the support that we wanted to provide to our areas.
Yeah, nice. Have you guys been involved with the Santa Run at all?
Actually, Amber and I participated in that this last December, and we had a great time.
Really? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We were course marshals this year.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, you recognize us this way.
Yeah, definitely. So, do you guys have any specialties? I know, Amber, you talked about the fact that you work, and kind of, analyze and understand each patient's specific needs, but there probably are maybe some specializations you guys do.
I'm gonna butt in just real quick because one of the specialties is hand therapy, and I'm actually a hand therapist.
Okay.
And it's a specialty. It's kind of a combination of OT, occupational therapy, and physical therapy together, working on the upper extremity. Many of the hand therapists that are with Athletico are certified hand therapists, and it's just an extra specialty. It's an extra certification. The hand and arm is very complicated, so it's nice to have that as a backup as your therapist being a specialist in that area.
Yeah.
I'm just giving a plug, like I said, because I'm an occupational therapist and therapy.
Yeah. Well,
but I do it.
Yeah. So I just wonder, as people have shifted from working, in an office environment where maybe or maybe not, it was more ergonomically correct to going to a home office where, are using a laptop on a kitchen table or something like that. Have you seen any increase?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Lots of people are doing their iPad or their computers at home on their lap on the couch, and that just doesn't cut it with some of the repetitive stuff that they're doing and their neck strains and their back strains and so forth.
Yeah.
And hand therapy is a very important part of the clinic that Misty works at, and an important specialty that Athletico offers. We also offer specialties in work conditioning for people that may have been injured on the job. We do spine specialties, hand therapy, which Misty mentioned, vestibular and concussion therapy,
now, what
blood
is that?
flow. So concussion therapy and vestibular therapy is therapy that kind of helps with balance, dizziness, concussion. The vestibular therapists have special training in the vestibular system. A lot of people will recognize it as vertigo, but it really runs a very large range to cover concussion, dizziness, those sorts of things.
Okay.
And to work on that, you're basically also helping your older population for falling. It's a preventative thing. You might be able to teach somebody some balance exercises to keep them from falling.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I have gone to physical therapy several times in my life. I dislocated my left shoulder twice, and I get it trained to work properly for a while, and then I fall back into my bad habits, so I have to go back eventually.
Well,
You
and
know,
in those
I'm sorry.
in those instances, Ken, we do offer free assessments at each of our locations.
Okay.
One of the benefits of a free assessment is that you get some time with your therapist as kind of a consultation. And you can say, hey, I've had this going on with my shoulder. I keep falling back into bad habits. Is this something I need more therapy for? The therapist can take a look at it and send you in the right direction. Maybe you just need to return to your home program, or maybe it's a situation in which you need to follow up with your doctor. But those assessments are free, and we do offer them at all locations. So maybe we'll have a chance to see you at St. Peter's or St. Charles to help out that shoulder.
Do you have that? I don't know if you have that much time.
We would make that time for you.
I have to say, this has nothing to do with, what you were talking about, Misty, and I don't want to have this come across the wrong way, but when you talk about hand therapy, I just can't help but think about George Costanza from Seinfeld being the hand model.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
It just made me laugh when you first mentioned that. So yeah. So so you talked about the free assessments. So how do people sign up for that? Do they call? Do they they probably just don't come in right now, do they?
We would prefer a call to make an appointment so we can make
Okay.
sure that there's a therapist there and so forth. You can drop by, but we may be able to see you at that time. We may not be able to see you, and just go ahead and schedule an appointment for you. It's about a 30-minute session, and it's very helpful for a lot of people. A lot of times it's just here's a couple of exercises, or here's a couple of stretches. Maybe that will help you, or you know what, you need to go see a doctor, kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah. So I've just put the website up for people who are interested, and I'll go back and I'll cycle through and make sure that the phone numbers for both locations are on the screen.
Perfect.
Let's see. So how much of your work is done, from like injuries on the job, or just the stress of everyday wear and tear?
Oh my God. Sorry.
Or even like athletic related visits. I mean, I assume you do all of those.
We do, and generally it fluctuates a lot. Sometimes we see trends in the market for certain types of injuries when it's cold or there's a lot of snow. We see, of course, more fall injuries, and those can be anything. That can be a twisted ankle, it can be a hand or a wrist sprain, or a fracture from falling on your wrist or hurting your back. We also see those across the board with work injuries as well. When it's cold, people are falling on the job. It kind of runs the gamut between, we'll do anything and everything. And a lot of people will sometimes think that we're more athletic driven, but we're not. It's about getting the patient back to the function and the activities that they want to do. And maybe your activity is walking your dog, or maybe your activity is decorating your house, or, maybe it's doing crafts, whatever that is. We want you to be able to do that without pain and without limitation. Yeah,
absolutely. It's, I've always benefited tremendously from going to physical therapy, and, I highly recommend it. Does somebody need to be referred from like their general practitioner, or?
Yes. In the state of Missouri, we do need a referral from a physician for a patient to be seen.
Oh, really? Okay.
Right. So you do have to go to either your primary care or an orthopedic and get a script to be seen.
Okay. All right.
And we can help with that with the free assessments as well, kind of help streamline that process, because patients a lot of times don't know where to go. Do they need to see an orthopedist? Do they need to see their primary care? But that way we can help them, point them in the right direction so they don't feel like they're spinning their wheels as much.
Okay.
In the state of Illinois and some other markets, we have direct access where you can walk in and be seen without a physician's prescription. But here in the state of Missouri, we still do need those. But you don't need a prescription to get the free assessment. Those are free. And if with the right situation, we can do that in the clinic.
Okay. That's nice to know. I had no idea that Missouri had that requirement in place. Interesting. So, have you seen any increase in injuries, as a result of, I mean, a lot of the gyms have been shut down, a lot of people are going stir crazy, as maybe not so much now as when this first started, but maybe even more so now because it's been going on for almost a year. And a lot of people, I think, have adopted an at-home exercise routine. Have you seen any increase in any particular injuries related to that? Again, we talked a little bit about the work from home. Anything you want to elaborate on?
I say yes and no. Sometimes it's hard to really gauge if we have an influx in that. Generally in the spring, I see more on my side of things. I've started running injuries. Definitely have seen I'm starting an exercise program injury, or I'm returning to my program because I have more time being stuck at home and I'm noticing these things. And then, as Misty alluded to before, some of the postural stuff, some of the changes in the mechanics that people are doing working at home more, I have seen a few more of those. Carpal tunnel, tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, and then neck stuff, postural stuff due to, what I would consider changes in the work environment, like you mentioned.
Yeah. And when I'm seeing too, as far as hands, I mean, they may be taking up crocheting, or I've got a gal now who's working on hook rugs, and she was just working because she was bored and had anything else to do. And, subsequently now she has, repetitive strain syndrome. So we're seeing her for that. So I've seen a little bit of that through this COVID thing.
Okay. Yes. Speaking of COVID, I mean, how has that impacted your business and your locations? I assume you're still seeing patients on a regular basis, but have you had to limit like the number of people that can come in concurrently or make any modifications there?
Early in the pandemic, we did see a drop in patients. Of course, there was a lot of fear at the beginning. And we have made, I would like to say consistently, I know across the board in the region and the people that I converse with regularly, we have stepped up our cleaning practices, but we've always been a very clean company to begin with. We've always really focused on making sure our environment is safe for our patients. So while we have stepped it up a little bit, we've always cleaned all of the equipment, cleaned the tables, cleaned the surface areas, made sure that things are ready to be shared amongst patients. And, with the pandemic, we're not required to keep people at the 6 feet distance because we're considered a medical facility, but we do work really, really hard to keep people as far away as possible. We try to limit the schedule in a way that it is conducive to providing appropriate space. So patients are comfort. We're able to provide cleaning appropriately, and we do all wear the protective equipment. We've always been hand washers as well, to my knowledge, everybody that I work with. We clean our hands appropriately. We wear the masks. We require patients to wear their masks and require patients to also keep their hands clean.
The temperature, we also take temperatures right when the person comes in the door. So that is helpful. We also offer telehealth visits.
Okay.
So if there's a person who does unfortunately end up with COVID and needs to stay home, or somebody's on quarantine, or somebody is just scared, they don't want to come in until this kind of resolves itself, we do have telehealth medicine, which is basically you have your appointment with the therapist on your computer. Through a Zoom kind of meeting. And I've done a few of them, and they've gone really, really well, surprisingly. The patient typically has to be a go-getter, wants to do it and wants to make sure that they're doing it right. So it's good to be able to, show them an exercise and then have them repeat it. You don't always have to have hands-on. I mean, that's preferable to have hands-on. Just get to know your patient and get to know what you're working on, specifically if there's tight muscles or so forth. But that's an option, and it's a good one because we've had a few. I'm sure Amber's had a few.
That's really interesting. I think telemedicine is going to continue to explode. I mean, I don't want to make any political statements here, but the reality is a lot of our clinics and hospitals in rural America especially have, started to really struggle and disappear. And so I think there's always been a need for that. But now with the pandemic, it's kind of accelerated it. And I think it's worked really well from most of the people that I've heard from. So I think it's an interesting trend. Um, and just so as somebody who's gone through physical therapy myself before, I really would not have thought much about a telemedicine type of an approach. So that's a really good idea.
Yeah, we have it as a resource if we need it. As Misty says, it's best that we're able to get our hands on the tissues, so we know what we're working with. There's a lot to be said about that. But in a pinch, if it's necessary, we want to make sure, number one, the patient is safe and most comfortable. So if the telehealth is the route they need, then we'll take that route.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and like even I would imagine that it's just still a lot better. Like if you're watching somebody's gait, if they have like leg or ankle problems, to still just see that in person. But again, it ultimately comes down to comfort level and safety, I think. So
True.
Yeah,
True.
cool. All right. So we've talked about some of the issues that have dealt with that you've dealt with in terms of the pandemic. What else is going on with your business? I mean, is there anything exciting that you guys are doing these days, or programs that you're going to be rolling out? We're getting into spring where a lot of people, maybe athletic programs are going to be kicking up, and is there anything you guys do with that?
Yeah, actually, a couple of new things that are coming down the pipe is home health. We're starting to look into some home health visits. And that's basically where a therapist goes into the home and does the evaluation. We're getting a lot of like post-op knees, post-op hips. Those are the type of people we would get for that at this point, just because they are supposed to get some home health before they transfer to the outpatient. We like that because it's a continuum of therapy of us basically in our company. So they start with an outpatient, or a home health therapist, and then they transfer back into the outpatient facility, and then we know all about that person because we've been working with that person all along. So that's a new thing that's starting up. We've got several facilities with some therapists that are doing that currently.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We also, we can't discount the specialty programs as we move into the spring. I know Misty's got an overhead throwing program. Mm-hmm. Some of our clinics have ACL programs, which is, in the knee. And we also have athletic trainers in a handful of the schools in the St. Charles area, which also provides a nice continuum of care for those student athletes that may get injured on the field. We work one-on-one with our trainers to ensure communication. Our trainers will talk with our docs. So, we always everybody thinks a lot about football, but there's also the spring sports as well, the throwing, the track and field, those injuries. So that's something we look forward to in the spring, is making sure we're taking care of our athletes as well. And then again, like Misty said, the home therapy is it's really taken off. It's really provided a nice base, I would say, for us to provide that comprehensive care before coming into outpatient. And knowing the home therapist that's working with the patient at home has really helped the transition for the patient and for us clinicians in clinic to provide really good comprehensive care without a hiccup in the middle.
Yeah, that's nice. So let me just put up your addresses again. So tell everybody where you guys are located. I believe this is in the Deerberg Shopping Center.
Yeah, Med 70 and Zumbel. We're in the Deerberg Shopping Center. We're kind of halfway between Deerberg's, and on the other end is the Panera Bread Company. We've been here about 10 years is how long the clinic's here. People don't notice us until they have to use us, but then once you do, you know exactly where we are at all times.
Yeah. And then the St. Peter's location is?
We're at Spencer in Mexico.
Okay.
I don't even know. We've got McDonald's that's close by. We've got 2 gas stations there. It's just a little shopping center, and it's kind of hidden in a sense if you don't go down to Spencer. But we have a very community-based clientele. A lot of people live close by, and we've been there 21 years.
Oh, wow.
And right, that's why people I drive by this all the time and don't see it. But like Amber said, you don't notice it until you need it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. So how long have you guys been in the chamber?
Oh gosh, since July, I think, of
Okay.
this last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
not too long.
Yeah.
Okay. What can the community do to help you guys out, or are there any things that you guys are doing that we haven't really talked about where you're giving back additionally to the community?
I think just the community just knowing about us, knowing about our free assessments, knowing that we're a quality care facility, that our clinicians are very well trained. They're experts in their field, and I just think it's a great place to come. I think people feel comfortable in our facilities. They're welcomed with our, our front office people by their first names. It's very welcoming, because a lot of times it's a scary experience, and so when you've got somebody just right there saying, "Hey, it's going to be okay," it's like it is good.
And
Yeah.
I think it's important for me that people not hesitate to ask questions. If we don't know, you don't know what you don't know until you don't know that you don't know it, right?
Exactly.
But if you have any questions, ask. We're open to questions. The education of physical therapy in general is, important. People don't know what it is. They don't know what it's about, and they don't know what it means. So, ask us. Drop Misty or I an email. Drop us a line. The athletico.com website has a ton of resources on it. You can find just about anything you need to know, and you can probably connect with a live person at some way, shape, or form getting through that website.
Yeah.
I know that if people want to hear about us or see what's going on, we have, we're on the Googles, and we have Google reviews, and, people love to read Google reviews. The funnier, the better, I'm sure. But, the reviews tell a lot about how satisfied people are with their places, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I actually wrote a book on reputation management. So
Oh,
yeah, I'm glad you plugged that, because it's right
You're
now,
welcome.
right now for small businesses, it is
Yeah.
an important thing. Any business really,
Yeah.
but especially if you're a local business, Google reviews are still the king, but you need to have reviews on other sites as well. And people trust reviews as much as they trust recommendations from friends
Yeah.
and family. Believe it or not, I mean, it's
Mhm.
studies show that over and over and over again. And the key thing is for folks out there, you need to make sure you ask for reviews, because if you don't actively ask, they naturally skew to the negative. So
Yeah.
definitely take ownership of that. And I had a chance to check out one of your locations. I think you had like 136 5-star reviews or something like that. That's
Oh, awesome.
yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic. So
I,
cool.
I get on a soapbox about some things, but Google reviews are important. Reviews in general, like you said, they're important to me. So, I leave reviews, I read reviews, and I think that it's important that the people don't take my word for it, but they take everybody else's word for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, thanks so much for your time. I really enjoyed talking with you guys. It's fascinating to me. My sister started out her medical career as a physical therapist before she became a nurse. And so, it's been something that I've known about for a long time. And I can't stress this enough. I mean, there are so many ways that you can address pain and getting rid of pain, and you don't have to live with it. I think being proactive is a good thing to do, because it's going to make it easier for your body
Yes.
in the long run. Your body is having problems and expressing pain for a reason. So
Yeah.
it's helped me out tremendously. And not that I don't want to come see you guys anytime soon, but hopefully I'm going to be all right here for a while. So
We hope that
good.
too.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
all right. Well, thanks so much, and
Right.
enjoyed meeting you guys and talking with you. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Ken.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.